Well, well, my brave little babes, what are we risking today? Our souls? Our chance at happiness? Maybe just our lives? Whatever you've bargained for, you're here now. So sit back and listen to the 5th episode of our tale. Welcome back to The Witch Hunters by Lane McLeod Jackson.
The bullet peeks her head from my shoulder, slowly pushing from the safety of the nest. Evicted, cruel as I may be, forcing this abused hunk of metal from a home of torn flesh, it still is necessary. Once safely placed within a spare jewel box, I smile, then vomit, take a step, sit down, and pass out. Everything in its proper order. An hour, maybe less, creeps by before I'm conscious enough. The cracked light stick has begun to fade, but nobly emits enough sight for me to split 4 more. Now, it's almost comfy. The other medical potions, serums, and lotions decorate the upper edges of my lair. Mossy, infectious green boils inside of a stoppered glass vial. The perfect shade for a bullet wound. Kills the infection, but does not dull the pain. But worry not for the neighbors. Here I may scream to my heart's content. I'll still not be heard past the wails and lamentations of the surrounding countryside. Spirits peer inside my glass house. Well, glass room. Their forms continuously torn asunder, dying again and again, and once more with feeling. They beg and sin. They hope I'll slip, so these creatures might vent their fury on a new soul. But not today. Today I simply watch a face split in 2, the smile drifting off in different directions, before I pour the concoction on my wound, and watch my skin bubble gently. The pain is not so very bad now. Only a little vomit. Hardly any fainting. After my little nap, I make sure everything stays in its proper place. The park slide escape is now useless. It is unlikely I'll ever return to that field. The Malleus will not forget. They never do. Within the week, everything I've hidden will be discovered. Hopefully, my paranoia and obsessive tendencies will prevent them from gathering more information. Here's to faith. The coven I've sworn to protect is in danger. Andromeda did not sanction this attack on me. Our noble and fearless leader would have set me on fire earlier tonight herself. You know, the way decent folks behave. She would have scarab beetles burst from my eyes and consume my innards. This ambush? That's all Josephine. But why? She does hate me, but risking inviting in those bloodsuckers? The entire sisterhood now stands before an abyss, and now I see. The hatred she bore me was never the point. It was simply an excuse to plot and scheme. All of us witches tend towards machinations. No one trusts an innocent, but ambition we understand. Her attempts to kill me were attempts to weaken the coven, not to rise within its ranks. I have to be honest, this is all a tad stressful for my mental health, so I think it's time for a party. Not shockingly, the common, vulgar descriptions of our hidden orders tend to get a little wrong. Like, one psychopathic hag 400 years ago tenderizes a pair of orphans, and suddenly everyone thinks we're baby eaters. We're far more likely to help our neighbors' crops than wither them. I've read lurid descriptions of even the most innocent rituals. But when they do get the rites right, I will not deny. We do love to dance naked in the woods. Do it all the time. Some more than others. Now, a little of this revelry emerges from tradition. Our mothers and grandmothers and great-grandmothers enthusiastically engaged in these orgies. It's part of our culture. These events serve a social function, meeting folks from other covens, learning new spells, keeping the hostilities to a simmer. But I'm not delusional. Why become a witch if you're not strangled by reality, the rules of the universe, the demands of society, the expectations of lovers, and mostly the judgment of strangers? We're an antisocial group by definition, and megalomaniacal in temperament. All we want is absolute freedom and total comfort. And we get to have both, because we have power. Watch me enter this classic scene. A forest. Beautiful, giant, shirtless men who glisten with sweat bring down mallets on wide drums. Maybe they're timpanis. Each wears a wooden carved facade, animals, naturally. The rhythm fuels the dance. Now, the faces amongst the throng are stripped of their own human masks. There is no subtlety. Anger doesn't exist, only rage. Happiness banished, it's replaced by ecstasy. Desire subsumed by craving. There are strict rules about what may happen here. No war, only love. Groovy, baby. But that doesn't mean I can't listen and plot. I need not worry about the revelers catching me spying. Glazed expressions and mystic highs keep their focus. The drummers double as guards. Should we be interrupted, they will defend us with their lives, tearing apart interlopers or descending on witches who try and take advantage of the situation. But those like me who simply watch, well, for us, they depend on the fragility of human discipline. How can one plan mischief when inviting eyes in every direction offer more immediate delights? And yet, here I am, resisting. I find Josephine dancing between two lovely creatures. I recognize one immediately, Sublime. That's her name, not a description. This tall, statuesque powerhouse thrives hunting past civilization. Turns out there is far more empty space in this country than those of us trapped on roads can imagine. She's part of our coven tangentially, her alliance mainly with Andromeda, but she does enjoy flattery, a skill Josephine mastered. But Sublime would have no part in an attack on her sister. So who's this other woman? For now, she will be called Deja Vu. Somewhere I've seen this person before, but no specific strikes a chord. The amber hair, even the sharp jaw, her fingertips long and curved. This is not a forgettable presence, but I don't remember where we've met. I float away, letting the shadows squeeze my lungs so I can remain unidentified. Sublime kisses Josephine on the head before lifting her arms. A bellow fills the woods, not a shriek or yell, but her lungs ring deep, and she dances to the new rhythms. Others join, but not me. Instead, I follow Deja Vu. Josephine is creeping towards another, but right now following her is not worth the risk. I'll not get too close. Josephine does know me after all, and is more aware than most of my style. And when you aim for the heart, it's best to move like a bullet. And this creature, Deja Vu, does not feel comfortable. She dances, but keeps away from the others. Is this a first-timer? No. Too many people greet the young beauty. Rather, it seems like she's uncomfortable in her own skin. Literally. As if she's wearing someone else's. Then it clicks like the sound of a lighter. That's Carol, the young Miss Brandeis, who'd left my apartment not 24 hours ago, scarred, helpless, and I thought unconscious. She should be recovering, learning what it means to exist in this half-world, months away from nervously stepping among these hedonistic delights. When trying to piece together a mystery, one does not strain for answers. Speed does not help. Rather, best to let questions float, untethered, mixing with observations. Just list them. What is Carol doing here? How long has she known Josephine? Delicate fingers curl habitually in her hair, but she kept it short at her mother's prison. A small group of friends wave her over. She ignores. Who is she waiting for? She chose to be taller, and those pale blue eyes she now wears are very different than her old ones. Now, those orbs resemble her father. This is not the first time she's danced, I can tell. Who, what, where, why. Now she looks relieved. Now she looks happy. Magic does not exist in books. Individual rituals might. Old spells painted on leather scrolls, sure. But those are the classics, and frankly, anyone in this game knows them, and how to twist the knowledge. Very quickly you realize that to master this art form, you must either dive deep into wicked tomes of unearthly power, pouring through pages which frankly are more likely imbued with malevolence than most, or you start to experiment. My closest friends know only a few of my tricks. My reputation suggests a tendency towards the macabre, the unexpected, the revolting. And they're not wrong, but it's not complete. Fundamentally, what I've found separates me from rivals is simple. Other people do not wish to be inconvenienced. Their brilliance, ruthlessness, raw magnetism sets them apart from mere mortals, not me. I am a worm, parasite, and I survive through a lack of shame and a little bit of patience. Magic is not rational. Some try to force a categorical mindset on the currents of our universe, but no, magic thrives in metaphor. Here's a very simple example. When one gathers the courage to speak, whether trying to impress cold gray eyes in the middle of a bar, or sitting with friends and failing at a joke, a brief moment of triumph surges. You, or leaps self-doubt. You made the step. But then a look from the others cuts across space. Walls exist for a reason. How dare this thing emerge with its useless humors? What are you? What was that? Why are you here? You are nothing. No one. Beneath contempt. Invisible. So with a simple, devastating glance from a pretty lady you wish to dissolve, they wish you disappear, but you're forced to remain ignored and finally forgotten, even as you stand waiting. That moment, which I believe we've all experienced, can be used by those of us who do not fear despair. So bringing the theoretical into action, I quickly change my form, stretching my skin so the features which make me distinctly Mortimer vanish. I'm no longer hideous, but rather simply bland, dull, and as this model of mediocrity I cross into Carol's sightline. I dance a little, off rhythm, and smile nervously, offering a wave. Her disgusted turn of the head reminds me of another Brandeis. And with that simple dismissal, the enchantment awakens. I'll not be seen as long as she wishes to ignore me, which is the same thing as saying forever. Her magic and aura now hide mine. I'm dragged about now, forced to stay in her periphery, hoping she'll change her mind and offer a smile as she continues to ignore my existence. Not to brag, but I haven't seen any other invisibility spell work quite so well. The only side effect is the shame and self-abuse which flows through my heart, which is hardly a price at all. For now I can listen. Friends call her Anastasia. Her sentences verge on the vapid, but purposely so. This is a ploy to keep conversations easy to abandon. She's supposed to be seen. Hence, she does a few over-the-top dances and constantly yammers. She must be observed. Oh, so cute. I love those ribbons. careful. Don't enjoy yourself too much. My, aren't we the frisky pair? Thankfully, I'm forced to endure only an hour of this nonsense. Josephine finally joins us again, going in for a kiss on either cheek. We're ready. Are you sure this will work? No choice. Mortimer might still be alive. We need to act quickly or else everything falls apart. You told me he was dead. He should be. Probably is, but we can't risk. That twisted, unformed, poisonous little toad is a psychopath. He'll never stop, so we've got to be secure. We're almost finished. After tonight, he'll be dead, and we'll be rich, happy, and living together across the ocean. Isn't that what you want? Josephine's kiss is gentle, kindly. Harold smiles in return. So now, I know how the book got into our territory. Quick peek over my shoulder, and fortunately I am not transformed into salt. But I see nothing. These folks really are good at their job. Okay, now tell me, what's your plan to squash the toad? Sublime leans against a trunk, her massive arms crossed over her chest. Those eyes reflect light, owning their yellow tint and predatory glare. A purr emanates from the back of her throat. Mortimer might be irritating, but he's useful, and Andromeda has a soft spot for him, so how do you propose to kill him and not make her upset? The Malleus? Oh? Well, in that case, go fuck a corkscrew. We're not going near witch hunters. I'm sorry, Sublime. Josephine's condescension irritates me more than anything else. But we misspoke. It's not really a plan, more a report. Mortimer was ambushed at Evans Park. My friend here stole a piece of the robe Morty offered her, and I've got an informant who works for the Malleus. She's adorable, hates us, loves us, that kind of thing. But she led the witch hunters to him. They gunned him down already. Uh-huh. And what? You want me to smooth things over with Andromeda? Sublime shrugged. What's in it for me? Nothing. She ain't gonna be happy Moron Morty's dead, or that you brought those suited psychopaths into our home, and it's not like she enjoys the pleasure of your company, Josie. No, the old witch has always been jealous. Kept me scrambling about like a rat. Well, that's fine. It's all in the game. But no one is invincible. Not her. And certainly not you. To tell you the truth, even I failed to notice the lively woods go silent. The birds, insects, all of Bambi's friends gone. A slight gurgle instead spreads around us. The leafy earth bubbling, and then wicked dreams fly from a decaying reality. Leathery fanged nightmares perch on branches with talons as hook-bladed tails rise in preparation. What you might call a face host brutal bloody eyes and horns, but no mouths. Those growl from the center of their stomach, drooling and gnashing bladed fangs. Muscular arms, simian in style, but clawed reach out, those nails painted with dried blood. Sublime, famed for her own brutality, lifts her hands towards the newly discovered enemies, then stumbles. She touches the side of her temple. A wine red spreads across her skin. The old warrior turns towards the young woman at Josephine's side. Well, you're not supposed to leave the protection circle, Sublime, Josephine chides. Now for me, the smart play would be to let her die and escape to Andromeda now, before anyone notices me. But I think it can be said with absolute certainty I am not very bright. My gun announces my presence. Firearms confuse most witches. The bang distracts even if the bullet doesn't kill. But mine does. The nearest monster's head explodes. This agony of demons freezes. The creatures do not go to battle with others capable of hurting them. Torturers, and always remember this, are fundamentally cowards. But we don't have time. I thrust my curved blade into Josephine, purposely missing the vital organs before pushing forward. Sublime holds out her fingers to reach me. She grabs my cloak and kisses underneath my misty large eye. Your place or mine? We escape into the shadows. I hear our would-be assassin scream, followed by the howls of demons. Those two witches will not be killed. And that's good. I'm not interested in mercy.
Hiya, I'm LJ Longo.
And I'm Lane McLeod Jackson.
Honey.
And I'm Lane McLeod Jackson.
Tales from the chaotic musings of your hosts, two love-struck creatives. Paperback Podcast unveils bi-monthly stories from an eclectic array of genres.
Here, we come out of our shells on the odd weeks of each month, hopefully to your delight and probably God's scorn.
Welcome and enjoy.